Good afternoon, everybody. My husband's just dragged me in from the garden to show him how to throw. He's made a hell of a mess. There's clay everywhere and it's all over his face. So I thought I might as well film it so that those of you that are borrowing or renting the wheel can try to remember what to do. You won't see my face in all of it because I can't get my face in with this recording device I have. So I'm still here and he's watching. Here we go. Okay, remember you need to weigh your clay so it's always the same amount that you're using with. I mean, it's a good idea to have basically a fistful to begin with, but if you weigh it and you get exactly the same amount, then you know exactly what kind of volume of clay is creating your pieces. And if you've always got a different size lump of clay, then you're all over the shop. So if we were to throw half a dozen mugs, we'd take a pound of clay. So a pound of clay is a good starting point, unless of course you've got a really big hand. And like my husband, so he wants a pound and a half to start with. A pound of clay is pretty much okay. And then hopefully all of your pieces will be exactly the same size. Let's go. First thing you've got to do when you've weighed your clay and you've given it a wedge up, I'm not showing you how to do that, you know how to do that. Get it, make sure it's nice and round. Aim at the centre of your wheel and throw it down and follow it down. Don't let your hand detach from it. Your hand down puts that clay exactly where you want it to be, in the middle. And if it's not in the middle, shimmy it around. I think the problem with fighting with the clay is when the clay's not in the centre before you even start. Yeah. So then you need to wet your hands, get your body squarely over the wheel and your arms down. If you don't keep your arms down and they're all over the place, then it's harder to get to grips with. Once you get really proficient, then you can do it any way you like. You usually get some kind of point in your body that will give you a structured and stable throwing start. Make the wheel go round, and I usually start by getting my hand and just holding my wrist for a bit of support and just pressing it down, sealing it down onto the wheel. Just sealing it. That conical shape there is what I'm trying to get, a cone. I don't want it to wobble lots and lots. So if I take my hand from the bottom and move up to the top and then move back down to the bottom, make sure there's plenty of water on, you don't want your hand to go dry, then it's a good starting place. Then take your left hand in. I'm only using this part of my hand. Yeah. Then take your left hand in, or your right hand in, sorry, and cup the clay and squeeze, and as you squeeze it will go up. So right to the bottom, get your fingers onto the wheel head, grab all the clay, follow it up. I'm not pulling it, I'm following it. And then when you get to the top, if you just give it a knock, look, over to one side, it will start to go down. And you can cup it. And then, because you know the clay's in the middle of the wheel, you can actually speed it up, go a bit faster, and go up and down. And this is called centering, and centering is what you need to do before you try to throw a pot. I reckon he had the clay on the side of the wheel when it was going round, and that's why it's all over the workshop. So from the bottom up and down, until the clay feels as if it's not going to go anywhere. Yeah, my hands are completely flat and smooth. All right, let's go over it again. Start off like that, up to the top, hand in, cup it, down, squeeze from the bottom. It's really, really a lot of pressure, squeezing, make it go up, follow it up. Knock it over to one side and follow it down, making sure your hands are wet all the time, but not absolutely sopping. You know, too much water is as bad as not enough water. Got some on my nose. Right, when you feel that your hands are steady, it's not going anywhere, then you can flatten the top. I usually hold my hand like that, flatten it down, and you're ready to start making your pot. Okay? So, two ways of going in. You can go in with your thumb like that, just press down. If you go too far, you'll go through the bottom and you'll have a holy pot. Or Or you can go in with 2 fingers like that. And it's a preference, it doesn't matter which you use. Really doesn't matter. I usually go in with my thumb, holding the clay, not letting it go anywhere, and my pressure is always into the centre of the wheel. Once I've got down there, I'm bringing my thumb into the palm of my hand. If I were using 2 fingers, I would be pulling with 2 fingers into the palm of my hand. Now, as we stretch the clay, it becomes unhappy and is likely to crack on the base later. So go in and out, in and out with your fingers, really pressing down on the base and making it flat. Now, the clay wants to go out. Central fugal force is going to chuck it away, so making a bowl isn't clever. What we want is a cylinder. Okay, push the clay in. Push it in. Look, my arms are still stuck down and my elbows into the, yeah, I'm really strong and firm. Push the clay in, hold your hand on the inside, squeeze your fingers and your thumb. On the outside, I'm pushing the clay, you can see my finger marks, and on the inside I'm squeezing, and they're working together. You go right to the bottom and I push it in, and this piece of clay wants to go out, and because I'm talking, it's got its own way. Yeah, you do need to focus on what you're doing, so that's a bit of a mess, but it's good to see. It's good to see the clay's going to go out if you're not concentrating. I'm going to grab some clay from the bottom, I'm going to squeeze it thinner, I'm going to pull it out, and I'm going to suggest that actually I did want to make a bowl today, but actually I was going to do a cylinder. So we'll start again in a second. Down to the bottom, push the clay in. Don't let it go too far. It's having a really good wobble. When I stop, it won't look that bad, and I can have a go at playing with it. What I need to do is to dry up the water in the middle, dry up the outside edge. It's really wobbly. Good example of what you'll do. Wire underneath, water, wire underneath. Push it out with your fingers. You should have a tile that you prepared earlier, bit of paper. Push it onto the tile, tip it up, and pull the paper across. If necessary, slide it on. Okay. forget to compress the top when you finish. Make that rim nice and thin. You don't want a really, really thick lip. Bit of chamois leather over the top would have been nice. I haven't got any. The most important of all, get rid of all water inside, otherwise your pot will turn to slurry later. Have fun.